This program is brought to you by Connie Dodo of Connie Dodo Realty Group, 119 Pleasant Street, Methuen. When you want results, don't make a move without us.
Welcome to Dodo Real Estate View. Thank you for the viewers for the topics you've asked us to present here at the show. Some people have asked us to have elder services here from Merrimack Valley, and we have Cynthia Richards, who's with the Family Services with Elder Services, and Bonnie Sisson, who's with the Merrimack Valley Elder Services as well. A lot of people like to hear different things that are happening in the community. Cynthia, I'm going to start off with you. Maybe tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into working with elder services.
Well, I started in elder services in the home care department, and we will go on a little bit more about that. But and for about 13 years, I worked in home care. This would be to go out to provide services to seniors and people with disabilities living in the community that are in need of home care support in order to be at home. So it would be providing state subsidized services that are available and assessing what their needs are and going over support that's available. But I became involved in the caregiver program where I work now through a program called the Powerful Tools for Caregivers Workshop. And it kind of bridged me over into the caregiver program. And so now I work with caregivers who are trying to care for their loved ones, whether it be a daughter caring for her mother, or a grandparent caring for their young child that they have custody of. We have a range of eligibility for our program. Would you like me to speak about that?
I think that it's such a big umbrella here that you cover, in terms of services. I mean, I know that you're dealing with the family care unit. And Bonnie, which branch of it are you dealing with?
Well, currently I'm the development coordinator. I sit on the development team, and that's the fundraising kind of public relations outreach arm of the agency. I love what I do. I'm kind of the person who doesn't know what I want to be when I grow up, so I just keep evolving. Right now, and over the years, I've worked in many, many different departments. I've been there. In fact, we're at the all-staff meeting next week. There's about 15 of us that are going to be recognized for our longevity. I just started my 35th year there.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's commitment.
Yes,
It's commitment.
Yeah.
A lot of hard work and commitment.
But but when you have a passion and you find something that you really like to do, and you don't look at it as a job, but more like a fun adventure every day, I think that speaks volumes. The other thing I just wanted to say too is, I mean, I've been Cindy's in charge of this family caregivers, and I've been a caregiver. I was one for 12 years, and I'll tell you, without working there and knowing the formal and the informal support services that were there, I couldn't have done it by myself. I mean, the task is enormous, and things just get to be overwhelming. And when the caregiver starts to go downhill, then the person they're caring, there's a big problem. Yes. And so these, different services, different support systems and everything that you can tap into. The other thing too is Methuen is really great. We did a hometown information fair at the Sons of Italy a couple of years ago with Corinne La Charity. And what we wanted people to know was just what is in their hometown for resources and what you can count on and who you can count on.
Right, and I know we'll get into the details of what you provide for services, but I think I'd like to have it up front. If people do need services, what number do they call? I mean, and we'll do it at the end again, but it's always good for people to jot it down if there is services that they need to capture.
Well, our local number is 978-683-7747. That is our information number, and they can be connected to our age info department. And then our 800 number, 800-890-0890. And again, they would ask for age info that can connect for whatever reason they would be calling. For our program directly, they can also call me on my direct line. Can I put that out there?
Sure.
978-946-1445 if they ever had questions as a caregiver. I did want to explain how the caregiver program is funded and works. We're actually federally funded, and every state in the United States has a family caregiver program, whether they have a home care subsidized state program or not. So we work with caregivers all over. If one of them lives within our area, meaning that either the caregiver or the person needing care lives within the Merrimack Valley, we can work with them directly. If they don't, we could refer them to wherever their local caregiver program would be. What we do, first of all, there's no cost for our services. We are federally funded. And what I do is when I meet with a caregiver, I don't actually have to meet the person they're caring for. It's really to sit down and meet with them to see what their needs are, what the plan is.
What's the criteria for a caregiver?
Well, there's different age criteria. So for somebody that is caring for somebody over 60, the person that they're caring for can have any diagnosis, and the caregiver can be of any age. We also work with caregivers that are caring for a person that if they're under 60 and they have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, the caregiver can be of any age. We work with caregivers who are 55 and older who are caring for somebody under 60, an adult with disabilities, between the ages of 18 and 59. And the caregiver is over 55. We work with those caregivers. And we also work with grandparents or older adults who are 55 and older who are caring for their grandchildren, have custody of their grandchildren for whatever reason, who are under the age of 18. So it is a wide variety, and even if people don't fit our criteria per se, I'm sorry, that we, so for instance, if a grandparent were to call and they were 54, and I can still get them information and get them places that they might need to be, or get resources. Just as far as when they're part of our program and meeting with them and going over a long-term plan and everything, that would be that they have to meet that age criteria.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that, it's elder services, it's under the umbrella of elder services, but yet you're providing services to children.
Yeah, we do. And at this time of year, actually, we have, through our grandparent program, we have what's called our camperships scholarship program that we're able to help a grandparent that may be struggling financially, and again, they do have to be 55 or older, but if they're struggling to looking at camp over the summer where they're still going to need to be working or they need respite during that time, we have a scholarship program that people can apply for and be able to get some financial assistance.
Is there a financial guideline for people to receive that type of
no,
service?
actually, because for that type of service, we do look at a few things on that, whether they've received funding from us before or if they do have other means, we may be able to look at that, but it's really based on because they are taking care of their grandchild, or when I say it can be another older adult, it could be an aunt who's caring for her nephew. It would have to be a family member. But it actually is based on the child, and they're providing the home. And because this is money we're receiving, we don't necessarily look at financial criteria of the person that's
Maybe
of
give
the
us an
grandparent.
example of something that somebody that would be getting the services.
Okay.
You know, just give us a typical, not that everything is typical, I know there are all differences
sure.
and nuances, so you have to look at that, but give us a, you know, one of your...
Well, I recently had a caregiver call, and this would be for a grandparent. He cares for his 5-year-old grandson because his son had passed away, and he did end up with custody of him. And he struggles. He's over 55 and trying to provide care. So we meet with him. We go over what would be eligible, what benefits he would be eligible for both him and the grandchild that he's caring for. You know, there's different guidelines that people aren't aware of, different assistance, either through veterans, through other support groups, and things like that we could offer. And then we do also go over the campership program. We do just try to make sure they're also being supported as a caregiver and not becoming isolated. Another type of caregiver who is many of the caregivers that we see are really people that are caring for somebody with dementia or Alzheimer's. And we do a lot of work around dementia education and habilitation therapy. We can offer to pay for sessions of habilitation therapy through our program.
I'm going to stop you right there, because most people don't know the difference between
Sure.
rehabilitation
And
and
habilitation.
habilitation. So I think if you maybe
Sure.
just touch upon that, because I think that's always a...
And habilitation therapy, what that really is education around dementia and best practices on how to communicate with somebody with dementia, best practices on how to set up the environment, how to really understand what they're going through and have more of a comprehensive view of it. And it takes a while for many people when they have, or for a caregiver, it can, you know, you do have, there's a lot of emotion that goes around what is happening with this diagnosis, and you want to be able to correct the person, make things factual. With habilitation therapy, you're really trying to keep a positive emotion in place and keep them comfortable and engaged.
So what they say, the moon's made out of cream cheese. That's good.
You
just
You're
let it
not
go.
going to challenge
You let
them,
it go,
right?
absolutely.
Exactly.
You let
Because
it go.
it's not going to be worth challenging them first. And why are you going to put them, get them upset? It's not about being factual. It's really about that emotional piece and how to connect with them still through that. So we do a lot of education around that. Like I said, we also do a lot of education around getting the caregiver to the support that they need as a caregiver, to whether it be through support groups, whether it be through a workshop that we offer called Powerful Tools, whether it be different activities, things that are available to them to assist
some
them.
respite.
Respite
Get
as well.
Good.
Yes, and we talk a lot about what programs and services they would be eligible for. What's nice about my meeting too is, like I said, I don't have to meet the person being cared for. So I meet people at their work. I can meet people, you know, people are busy, so we try to make it to suit them. And within, you know, I mean, if they can't get out of work to meet, I can try to meet them on their lunch hour. They can come to our office. I meet people often at the library, the local libraries and the study rooms, so that they have a place that they're able to discuss what's going on. Particularly for, I would say, for spouses, for people that are, or you know, a family member like a daughter that has her mother living with her. They need a special space that they can really talk and go over what's going on. And we do really talk about a plan that is going to be balanced and work for both of them. You know, and really kind of setting guidelines in place.
It's important too that they have a very safe and confident environment, because you build up you build up all this, you know, and it is, people don't realize it's frustrating. It's isolating.
It's
you start to
isolating.
resent
Right.
but these are all natural emotions, and it's if you have a place, you're going to be a better caregiver if you just sort of own up to it.
Exactly.
Nobody's a martyr. You go into
Exactly.
anything like that, and
that's what
nobody's
you
a
did.
martyr,
You
right?
to help-
Exactly.
To help
Exactly.
alleviate some of that
Yes,
stress.
yes. And then they go back and keep the person they're caring for in a loving, nurturing environment. And really,
Right.
that's the best of both worlds. You're caring for the caregiver while they care for the loved one, so the balance comes
And it
out.
certainly saves on nursing home placements, and it's a better environment when you're at home
Right.
versus,
Right,
I mean,
and it
it's a
does,
better
right,
alternative
and
if it can
that's
be
not to
done.
say, right, that it doesn't come to that
Correct.
point, but for as long as possible, everybody wants to stay in their own
Right.
home. That's
Right.
where they feel safe, secure,
Right.
and that's where they're going to probably get the best care and the most attention. You know, you got one-on-one.
And we also do work with, when it does, the transition does have to happen, that it, for whatever reason, they have to go to a different living environment, an assisted living or a nursing home. The caregiver enrollment stays open regardless, so I can still meet with them or go over any time that they have questions or concerns. They can still call me up through our program and participate in our events.
If they do have to go to, say, assisted living or a nursing home situation, would you still provide services to them in those settings?
The home care programs, that wouldn't be the case for most of, because they do have to be in the community and at home. But for our program, no. It is based on the caregiver. So they're still considered a caregiver, They're still trying to manage.
Just because the 24/7 piece is removed doesn't mean that their role as a caregiver is removed.
And many caregivers still, even when someone goes to a nursing home, you're still dealing with a lot going on. So.
For sure. So, question, I just kind of, just for the audience to understand the services so they can really wrap their head around it. Elderly person at home, daughter caring for her at her home. What services can you provide to that person?
Well, if they don't already have our home care program in place, we do talk about what the eligibility for that. Now, that does have a finaal eligibility for different programs
a few more
and
strings
services.
attached to that.
And when we go over what that might involve, they do have to go over what their income is and things like that. And we do also go over different, plans, whether that's going to work out or not, or whether it would be private pay. Some of those services could include personal care, help with personal care, help with homemaking, help possibly adult day health, which we actually really do encourage through family care for somebody that has dementia or any form of dementia or Alzheimer's, because that's really the best piece of respite that's offered in